Alright, welcome back everyone. I hope you're all having an amazing weekend so far. Happy Saturday everyone. There's been a lot of things going on over at Lucasfilm and Disney, and given that Disney CEO Bob Iger has really been in a standstill and still is very much involved in the current shakeup between himself, the executives, the board members over at Disney, really trying to fine-tune their strategy to really course correct not just Star Wars and Marvel, but also the entire structure of Disney and the parks, because as you all know, Galactic Star Cruiser is closing by this September, and that's a very big fail on Disney's end. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support, but I am really open to optimism here about where Star Wars is going. It's why I am very invested in what John, Dave, George, and Tony Gilroy are creating for Star Wars right now, and the fact that they have a lot of privileges over at Lucasfilm and really are gaining the capability of adapting Star Wars Legends into live-action material, I think is all the more reason to be excited for what these guys are putting out. They are the quote-unquote dream team of Star Wars and exactly how it's going to head in a better direction. But moving on to what Bob Iger is currently pre-planning, that is going to be a very big deal for everything related to the overall Star Wars franchise and exactly what's going on with the movies. However, with Disney CEO Bob Iger actively making adjustments to the Star Wars franchise and its roadmap in an attempt to course correct the franchise, one of the most recent proposals by Bob Iger that may come across as controversial is that he is reportedly having a change of heart on the race-centered Star Wars movie, even though Kathleen Kennedy is not involved. Now, Disney and some of the executives are beginning to have low confidence in the new Jedi Order film that is set to feature Rey. This comes across after realizing the fan backlash of the new return of Rey, aka Rey Skywalker, portrayed by Daisy Ridley, and Iger's proposal to the executives and the board is to feature Dave Filoni's movie first in 2025 before any other Star Wars film, to provide better leverage and avoid any potential fan backlash in the theaters, and to wipe out the Rey movie overall. Now let me pause here quick. Now, the thing about this that's very tricky is that they already announced this new Jedi Order movie. Again, a lot of fans like to call it the Rey movie simply. It's a little bit easier to roll up the tongue there. But this Rey movie, or new Jedi Order film, is still slated for December of 2025. At least that's what they're hoping for, because the writer's strike, everything is unpredictable now. That's the reality of the situation. All release dates moving forward is very unpredictable. Anything that's still in pre-production, we really don't know where that's going. It's going to impact everything. So the thing about this is that they want, or he wants, basically Dave Filoni's Star Wars movie to come first. And that's a real time crunch, because you have to get Dave Filoni working on this thing like almost now to get it to December 2025 release. Now, the thing about this that I think is very interesting is the fact that Bob Iger is having a change of heart because of fan backlash, or premature fan backlash, of Rey returning to the Star Wars universe. Now look, I've said this several times, I don't have a problem with Daisy Ridley at all. In fact, it really was never a big issue. In fact, the problem with the sequels was the writing by Rian Johnson and J.J. Abrams, and even Kathleen Kennedy really pushing them to do specific things. The character of Rey does have the opportunity to grow and change, and that's exactly what John and Dave are doing, by the way, in their post-Episode 9 series that's also going to be based within the new Jedi Order era, where they are going to reinvent the character fully. They're going to give her a brand new backstory. We've talked about this several times. And moving on to the next thing here about Bob Iger, this is where things begin to get a little bit more involved, is that on top of this, some of the executives took this strongly and are considering this move. Others feel it would be extremely damaging to cancel yet another Star Wars movie after making such a big announcement at Star Wars Celebration, and would view this as a terrible loss and hit at the company's performance. The new Jedi Order movie, or known as the REY movie, is also going through a bit of a snag after one of the leads stepped down a couple of weeks ago from the cast, and Disney is finding a hard time casting somebody else to take his or her spot in the upcoming film. Also, Stephen Knight's script is still unfinished and stopped just when the writer's strike began. If this does come to pass, Dave Filoni would need to begin working on his script by this June or July to get this film out by the end of 2025, specifically December of that year, which would shift his focus away from Ahsoka Season 2, Mando Season 4 as well. It would be a workload for him, and that's why this is a very tough decision on the executive's end. Now look, canceling this movie may very well be a bad look on Disney to the common moviegoers. It might be a good move for the hardcore fans that really just don't want to deal with reminders of sequel trilogy lore again. But at the end of the day, common moviegoers are going to really view this as a very bad move on Disney's end. Because let's face it, this would be like the upteenth time that Disney canceled a Star Wars movie. You had the David Benioff and D.B. Weiss trilogy. You had Rian Johnson's trilogy, which is canceled, but Kathleen Kennedy refuses to announce that. She states it's on the back burner, and that Rian is supposedly too busy. It's really not the case, guys, by the way. It is canceled, it's not happening. The other thing is this, is you also had the Kevin Feige movie, X'd out. Patty Jenkins movie, crossed out. All these movies never made it to production, and really never made it all that far along, even in the pre-production phase. So, it would be very damaging to a lot of the common moviegoers and their view of Disney to cancel this yet again, especially after announcing such a film at Star Wars Celebration. So, the fact that Bob Iger wants to cancel this, it may very well show that he has a very good mind about how the Star Wars fans are thinking and what the fans want to see on the big screen. But at the same exact time, there's a lot of executives that are disagreeing with Iger on all of this. They realize that it would be very damaging to basically cancel this thing because it's going to further make a lot of fans feel very much uneasy and skeptical about any kind of further announcements. You know, even now with Indiana Jones 5 and the Dial of Destiny performing very bad so far after Cannes Film Festival, a lot of fans are beginning to question, will James Mangold's Star Wars movie even happen? Which, by the way, is Dawn of the Jedi. I don't know if you guys knew this. It's set 25,000 years before the events of the Skywalker saga. It's well before the events of the Old Republic. We're talking about the first Jedi, the birth of the Force, and before the Jedi Order. That's how ancient this movie's gonna be. And look, it could work. James Mangold, was forced to do specific things by Kathleen Kennedy for Indiana Jones 5, so I'm not quite sure if he's full to blame for Indy 5 and the direction of the story. Who knows? I think he did a great job with Logan. That's my personal opinion. I think he did a great job with other projects out there, but he has had a tendency of fulfilling specific agendas here and there. So it's going to be interesting to see where things go. But overall, guys, fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.
From night to moon, we hear them moans again. No.